Hey guys, hope you're doing well. This is Jason from Dream Canada, and today I'm going to tell you a few things to think about before moving to Canada. In my previous videos, I've covered the benefits of getting a PR, listing why Canada is among the best places to move to because of the great standard of living, free healthcare and education, and so many other reasons. But there are also a few things that you should prepare yourself for, and I've listed them here so that it'll help you in settling down in a new country. So do watch the video till the end. Hey guys, this is Jason from Dream Canada. If you're new to the channel, I show people how they can save their money and immigrate to Canada through my videos without the help of any immigration consultants or agents or lawyers. You can find out all process instructions for you to apply on your own through this channel. Subscribe now because all the information provided here is completely free and I answer all your queries in the comment section and on my social handles on Instagram and Twitter, so don't forget to follow us there as well. Let's start with point number 1. Since you'll be coming to a new country, you should be prepared to start your professional career from scratch. If you have a higher position or designation in your home country, don't expect to be hired in the same position in Canada. In some cases though, if you're qualified and certified enough, you do actually get the same or similar positions, but most of the time you might have to take up a job profile that you may be overqualified for. There's nothing to be ashamed about with this, as this is fairly common in Canada and that's what most newcomers do anyway. So remember to take a lower position if it's offered to you and build up your Canadian work experience, which is the most important thing here. For Canada, your certifications and skills are much more important than your previous work experience. If you're not ready to upskill yourself every year and learn new things, Canada is not really the place for you. It's really important to have a mindset to keep on learning new skills and certifications. This will help you grow professionally rather quickly in Canada. As you already may know by now, there's huge job market competition in Canada and it'll really benefit you to stay updated with your skills and qualifications, so it'll give you an upper edge above the rest. Candidates in the tech and IT sector have to be particularly careful about this, as the competition is even more fierce for occupations in these sectors. If you're someone who's too proud and who doesn't like handouts or reaching out to someone for help, you might find it difficult to get your first job in Canada. This is because the referral system is quite popular and intensively followed by all working professionals in Canada. This would mean you would need strong networking skills and you would need to reach out to a friend or relative who you might not like too much, or if you feel a little jealous as they're already well established and settled in Canada. Companies also like to pick and promote people among their existing employees for any foreign job postings or promotions. So if you're currently working in a multinational company, you would have to build up a good connection with your colleagues in Canada, so you can ask them to refer you for any open position in your office branch in Canada. This would give you direct access to a work permit, or at the very least a Canadian job offer, which would help you score extra CRS points if you're applying through the Express Entry program. If you're someone who gets homesick really quickly and you're not used to staying away from your family members and friends, then Canada may not be the place for you. This is particularly worse for people from Eastern and Middle Eastern countries, as Canada is really far away from these countries, and even a non-stop direct flight from these countries would be at least 14 hours away, and the tickets can be really expensive too owing to the distance. This, mixed with the stress of moving to a new country and searching for new jobs, can be quite mentally challenging for some. To travel back and forth to your home country is not that easy, and you'll want at least a couple of weeks off if you're traveling such a huge distance to meet your family and your friends, and you definitely won't get so much time off work, especially if you're just starting off your new career in Canada. But if you're used to living a solitary life, or you're an introvert who prefers to have minimal human contact, then the initial months in Canada would be a breeze for you. The next point is unreal expectations. If you think that you'll become rich quickly after coming to Canada for whatever reasons, that's completely untrue and unreal. Maybe you think that the pay will be better than your home country, or education and healthcare is free, or whatever other reasons, but what you have to also remember is that even if you'll be earning more in Canada, your expenses will also most likely be much more than your home country. Soon after you land, you'll also have a lot of initial expenses to help you settle down. Then there's the rent, the car loan, the expensive groceries, and a lot of other day-to-day expenses, as the cost of living is also high in Canada. Not to forget that a higher income is also directly proportional to a higher tax rate. For example, if you're earning around $90,000 annually and someone else is earning around $110,000 to $120,000 annually, then the monthly salary you guys both take home after taxes would be really close. If you plan to immigrate to Canada, you're going to need a lot of funds. And I'm not talking about only a proof of funds amounts. There are huge costs involved even before landing in Canada, like documentation costs for education evaluations, language tests, police verifications, medical tests, biometrics, visa costs, air tickets, etc. All these expenses add up to quite a bit, and that's apart from the proof of funds amount that is mandatory to make sure that you can support yourself and your family in Canada or even if they're back home. You'll also have to keep a little extra funds apart from your proof of funds amount in your bank account to make sure that you don't fall short in the case of foreign exchange fluctuations. Many people overlook foreign exchange rates while calculating their proof of funds amounts, and their PR applications get rejected due to insufficient funds for even as low as 50 to 100 Canadian dollars. You'll also have to consider the huge initial one-time expenses that you would have to make after landing in Canada, like furniture, electronics, or even a used car. That being said, it isn't cheap for students either. As a reference, the fees alone for international students cost up to 3 times more than what it does for domestic students. If you're a person who likes to eat out often and frequent restaurants and cafes, Canada is slightly on the expensive side for that. If you're calling for food deliveries for 4 times in a month, it'll cost you around $80 per person in a month. A restaurant meal would cost you around $100 to $120 for a couple. Kindly note, you'll also be expected to pay a 15% tip on your bill or an amount equal to the tax on your bill, as the tipping culture in Canada is quite strong. These expenses may increase during winters if you find it difficult to step out for groceries for cooking at home and you end up ordering for food more often. Point number 8 would be if you have a lazy attitude and you don't like to do any work around the house. Back home, if you're not used to doing your own housework like cleaning, cooking, grocery shopping, etc., living in Canada is going to be really difficult for you. You'll even have to take up some basic electrical work or plumbing work because the cost for labor for these jobs in Canada is really expensive, and you can save a lot of money if you just know to do a few basic things yourself. Assembling furniture from IKEA and similar stores is also a common thing in Canada, so be prepared to do a lot of DIY assemblies and fixes in Canada. If you're going as a couple, do remember to distribute your responsibilities equally so it's easier on the both of you. You'll also have to take care of a lot of financial aspects yourself in Canada, like your insurance, tax returns, investments, bills, mortgages, loans, etc. You can't be dependent on your parents, siblings, or any other family member or friends to handle your finances. Now, if you're someone who can't really handle the cold weather conditions, you're going to have to think about which province you should migrate to if you wish to go to Canada, as temperatures in a few provinces go down to as low as -40 during winters. So if you can't tolerate too much of the cold weather, Canada is not the place for you. A few cities like Toronto and Vancouver are still tolerable, but a lot of other provinces face harsh winters for many months in a year, which can get depressing as well. If you already suffer from any health problems related to your breathing or any asthma issues, then these issues will most certainly escalate with the exposure to continuous severe cold weather. That being said, you can always do a soft landing just before winter and check if you can adjust to the winter temperatures before making the decision to move to Canada permanently. The indoors are always well insulated and temperature controlled, so you don't have to worry about that at all. And when you go out, you can always wear warm jackets, but still, you have to be mentally prepared for the strong wind chills, which makes the weather feel colder than it actually is. The next point is networking, which is related to our previous point on solitary life. If you're an introvert and you can't open up to people easily, it's going to be really difficult for you to build connections in Canada, which is most important in your initial months. Good networking can actually land you your first job in Canada, and you might miss out on a few great job positions if you can't socialize or make personal or professional connections effectively. You should interact with people around you, be it your neighbors or even people who have migrated to Canada at the same time as you. It really helps mask the initial depression you might feel and the stress of moving to a whole new country, and this helps your mental health to a great extent as well. There are even a lot of Facebook groups that help newcomers build connections after they land in Canada, be it for general advice, job openings, apartment hunting, or even university or college admissions. In Canada, as you know, you'll find people of various races and cultures, and they come from different countries, so you'll have to be comfortable and tolerant enough to go about and talk and socialize with people of different nationalities, religious backgrounds, different cultures, and be accepting of them as they'll be accepting you as well. You can't be only restricted to your own community, so do keep that in mind while planning your move. If you do that, you'll miss out on a lot of fun on a personal level, like socializing and celebrating multiple festivals together, and even on a professional level, as you'll miss out on valuable networking which might land you a better paying job. There are strong chances that you're accustomed to bad habits in your home country that you could probably get away easily with, but it's going to be a whole different case in Canada. For example, if you have a bad temper and you lose your cool easily, or you're used to frequent road rage outbursts, that can cost you a heavy fine in Canada, along with losing your driving license and even a jail term for some offenses that you're quite used to committing in your home country. Breaking traffic rules is a serious offense in Canada, and there are huge fines for these traffic violations, and your insurance premium amounts will also go sky high for every traffic violation or accident you're in. For those of you who don't know, the car insurance premiums in Canada are already really high, and they need to be paid every single month and not annually like you may be used to in your home country. These are few of the reasons why everyone in Canada drives very carefully. They obey all the rules in banks or government offices. They won't be breaking any queues, everyone respects each other, and that's what makes Canada so beautiful. Remember that you're representing your home country, so always make sure that you're not defaming or embarrassing your folks at home. If you're used to being chauffeur driven, or if you drive around in your own car in your home country, you might find it a challenge in the beginning to adjust with the public transport or TTC system in Canada. Even if you're rich and you can buy your own car in Canada, chances are that you'll have to travel using public transport at least till you get your Canadian driving license, as cab rides in Canada are quite expensive. However, the TTC network, which forms the trams, the trains and buses in Canada, is very well connected, and you'll get used to it very quickly and end up saving a lot of money as well with monthly passes. So be it going for groceries or interviews, be prepared to adapt to the public transport in Canada even in the colder winter months. Back in your home country, if you have a lot of household help like maids and servants to help you with the cleaning, washing dishes and utensils, laundry, groceries, cooking, etc., Canada is going to be really difficult for you because you have to do everything on your own. If you have kids, then there's even more work to do, as childcare is also very expensive in Canada. You'll have to be mentally and physically prepared for that, because hiring maids or cooks in Canada means paying them a minimum wage of $14 per hour, which would take a huge chunk out of your earnings in Canada. Doing your household chores yourself after a hard day at work may be challenging, but you'll get used to it soon enough, and you should prepare for it anyway and be more independent. So guys, this was my take on the things you need to consider before deciding to permanently move to Canada. My purpose isn't to scare you and discourage you, but to prepare you so that you're not too shocked or surprised when these things hit you all at once after you move. If you're adamant and rigid on not changing yourself for these points, then it's going to be really difficult for you, and maybe you're better off in your home country because you already have a steady job and a comfortable lifestyle. Because it's not an easy task to leave your home country and start everything new from scratch. You have to be mentally and physically strong, and you'll always have my support. I'll keep making videos to help you throughout your move. For the people watching from Canada, do kindly write down anything that you feel I've missed in the comment section, so that the people that are planning to move to Canada can consider them along with the points covered in the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, do hit the like button, and do remember to subscribe for regular updates on Canadian immigration, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram as well. I wish you guys the best of luck for your application and hope you guys have a great day.